Yeah. Hi again, Amrita. So this is a this is a small initiative which comes from my heart. I've been doing this for a long. I've been thinking about it for a long time to connect with like-minded people who are on their path of self-empowerment. And I've been. I'm not a big social media person. I had refrained from social media for a while. Um, Given there's so much happening out there, but there are few people who are posting a lot of good stuff and good things. And I honestly want to tell you this, that I really like what you post. You post a lot of good stuff, your quotes, your
Thank
achievements, your sharings about love for animals, and how you empower yourself and how you see how others are empowering you in any way, and the positive things it draws my attention. So yours is the first thing which comes up, and there are few other people who comes up after that.
thank
Um,
you.
so yeah, thank you for sharing. And I was wondering if you could discuss with me about certain things, like let's say I have a few questions for you. I know you've been
Sure.
on this path for a while now, and I don't know how did you come to this path of self empowerment. Like people actually usually go through this huge dip in their life, which kind of gives them that vision of, hey, I need to turn around and do certain things differently.
Yeah.
Did something else happen to you? I know I met you years ago and I never had a chance to connect with you deeply. um,
Right.
I think about it now and I'm like, oh damn, I missed that chance. But then yeah, it's never late, right? Never too late.
Never
You
late. There's always the right timing, right?
So I was wondering what encouraged you to be this self-empowered person or take this path.
Yeah. Also, before that, I wanted to thank you for the kind words for the social media, because sometimes when you're posting, you're just like, man, like, does anybody even see my post? Like, but it's so nice to feel like, okay, like it does impact somebody, like,
Yeah.
whatever I think somebody resonates with. So that really means a lot. So thank you so much for
Yeah.
that.
It did me.
But
So I don't know about the others, but I bet you're doing a lot of people.
that's
There's
all that
people,
matters.
silent observers. Yeah.
That's all that matters. Thank you. So I think for me, I kind of grew up like, for example, when I was younger, I think I had a lot of like things that, like, I think most kids want to do, things that are very big and creative. Like, I've always wanted to be an actress and, like, be in the performing arts space.
Mm,
But I think I never had the courage to be like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I
mm,
don't know, like, I don't know what stopped me. But I never had courage in my life. I think I always felt fear.
mm,
And I think maybe something in my intuition was like, no, like, you need to be courageous, which is actually why. So I actually got a tattoo with this eight month shirni, because I wanted to remind myself to
What's
be
it?
courageous. It's an eight month, like my
Eight.
first name and my last name, and then shirni, like a lioness, like,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
be courageous. Because I had always knew that I needed to be courageous, but I think a part of me was also very fearful.
Mm,
So I kind of lived my life like that for a long time, and then
mm,
I'd be like, okay, one day I'll do what I want to do. Like, one day I'll be like this, like, powerful person. I'll, like, do everything I love. I won't be stuck working a job, because I never really found myself in corporate. But I was always on this route where I was like, okay, like, one day I will, but then how can I get out of the current situation that I'm in? And I
mm,
realized that I was in a point where I think I had allowed myself to believe that whatever everyone else thought was good for me was what
mm,
I wanted.
mm,
I was like, yeah, look, I want a good job, but, like, I want this. But then I'm like, do I really want that? No, but how do I even admit that to myself or anyone else?
mm,
And then I think as I started to come around people, who I realized I was around people who were just not very positive. And I think at some point I just came to a level in my life where I was like, I'm not loving myself at all. Like, I'm really
mm,
just, I don't have anything to give to anyone. I'm so drained. I'm so tired. Like, I'm just, like, I'm just really exhausted of, like, trying to be this person that I'm not. And
mm,
then I kind of started to go on this journey of, like, reading a lot of books on self development, and I started to kind of, like, really gain courage in myself.
mm,
And then as I went through this journey, then I started to realize, okay, maybe this is not what I want.
mm.
But even then, it took me a long time to admit that this is not what I
Did
wanted.
anything happen? I'm
Nothing
just
in specific happened. I think I was just around really toxic people. Like, I had a lot of toxic friends who were just not
tell me
good for
more.
me.
Yeah, I need to know about that.
Yeah, like, they were just always taking, and they were not. I mean, of course, at that time, I didn't realize this was the thing. now that I look at it, I'm really careful as to like not being around people who just take and don't give that, and there's no balance
That's
in the
yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
But at that time I didn't know that, but I just felt like this is not right. Like, whatever's happening here is not right. Like people in college that I was around and friends, and I was like, this is not right. um
yeah.
so I just kind of took a break from everyone. I was just like, okay, like this is like, I'm just kind of like, I need to meet new people, make new friends. Like I need to kind of just do things differently, because I'm not happy. That this is really like frustrating. Like I'm not happy with life, and this is not really
Mm,
what I want to do. Let me just set a goal for myself and just like go in like an upward direction towards a career path.
mm.
But even that, like I was in a business at the time, and like and even through that, I realized, like, like I was trying to do things, but things were not really happening the way that it was kind of supposed to.
Mm.
And then I think I came across a time when I started actually, I was introduced to this modality called theta healing. So in 2016, I started to really go on a path of self-love, and I was growing myself. So I
Okay.
was doing a lot of like, understanding my limiting beliefs, and like, like what are my limitations, who am I now, who do I want to be. So I think my path started at that time. And then in 2017, 18, I came across a modality called theta healing, which is basically energy healing. So I would
Called?
theta, like theta, like beta, theta,
Theta.
alpha, like
Oh, okay, theta.
brainwave
Okay.
states.
Okay.
So it's a form of energy healing, which basically allows the practitioner to connect to the theta state of the brain, and be able to kind of scan your energy and consciousness and everything.
Awesome.
So it was kind of like a therapy for me, but it was a little more powerful than therapy, because I felt like I was able to really like dig out all of the beliefs that I just like that were just not true, because we basically
Yeah.
are our beliefs, right? So I think
Yes.
I started to kind of go through this path of like, okay, this is not me. And then I was almost going to that practitioner almost once a month, because it was like therapy. Like I'd go to her, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, this is like, yeah, this is my reality. What am I doing? And then I would kind of like start to work on myself. And I think as the year went on, I did a lot of inner work that year. A lot of inner work, just shedding things that were not me, trying to understand, okay, so who am I?
How
Like,
did you
what
shed
is
that?
it?
How did you?
Um, so I think one way was like I would get triggered by I was getting triggered more often, I think. So
Got it.
as I got triggered, I would then instead of just getting pissed, I'd be like, okay, why am I upset? What is the reason? But what is the actual reason why? Like, and then I would kind of do a kind of a course of digging. Like, okay, like maybe my boss would have, yelled at me that morning. Okay, so why did this upset me? And like, why did this person affect me? Or like, or maybe if I'm running late to work and I'm yelling at everyone, or I'm upset, or something along that happens
Mm.
where I'm really frustrated, I'm not in a happy mode, then I would just kind of go down a course of asking myself, like, why did you get upset? What's the reason? And come down to the core. And maybe it was a matter of like, I don't think I'm good for work, or I don't think work is good for me, or maybe I would have had some belief on some level, or some issue of like, maybe I'm not happy with work, maybe I don't think I'm good enough, maybe usually it's a belief around good enough
I
that
know.
most of
I
us
know.
carry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would start to kind of come up with beliefs, and then I'd go to my practitioner on a monthly basis and like, okay, this is kind of what I've been thinking. Like, can you do some healing on me? And then we'd work through those beliefs and kind of release them.
Mm.
And then in 2019, what happened
Was
was
that
I.
was pardon
Mhm.
me to stop you there, but to interrupt. But was this therapy kind a talk, or was it anything else? Is it meditation? Is it
Yeah, so it's kind of like
therapy?
the practitioner is in a meditative state, and
Okay.
then as you speak to the person, they'll kind of scan your energy and like, okay, like what are you feeling and sensing, and then they'll kind of have that conversation with you, and then they'll basically help guide you to change those, to basically rewire those beliefs in your system.
That's interesting.
It's really powerful, yeah.
Okay, continue. Yeah.
so um so after that, I think in 2019 I started to really uncover things that I started to
Okay.
like in the sense I was like, okay, like maybe I like this, or maybe I like this, and things that I never thought of before.
Mm, mm,
Like I met my husband in 2017 when I was in India on a
mm,
heritage walk, and then I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden, like 2 months later, I was really inspired to like do because he's a heritage manager.
mm.
And I was like, this is even a career path. Like you can just talk about your culture, people, and like it'll be so cool. And I was like, and I would
Yeah,
do this for
I
free.
would be surprised. Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is his career. And I was like, wow, like even I do this all the time at my work, but like I don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
So I started a blog about it.
Uh-huh.
And then so like that, other things start to come up, like, oh yeah, like I really enjoy dancing, maybe I like acting, maybe I like teaching dance more, and maybe I want to do it for myself. Like even I was involved in a lot of activities, I think, throughout the year, and I started to shed whatever wasn't good for me. Like if I didn't feel happy there, I started to shed it. So I think as I went through this process of healing, I was basically becoming more aware of myself. Like, okay, like this is not good for me. I'm not happy here. I should not be here. Like that was kind of my
Mm-hmm.
way of kind of getting out of things that were not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2019, I had this idea like, okay, I'm gonna start this like academy, and I want to like educate people on Indian heritage and culture because I really enjoy it, and like all these things. And then through that, I just kind of followed my intuition. I started teaching dance, and then I got like a few acting opportunities, and then I was like, wow, I really like all of this. Like why am I trying to like chase this dream job when my heart isn't in it? What am I doing? And then a month later, I got laid off.
That's the calling. I'm telling
Yeah,
you. You probably
exactly.
in the theta stage where you manifested the whole thing. So it probably
Literally.
you because you yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like from there, I got laid off. I was like, okay, I think this is a sign
Even
that I'm
better. You
not
don't
supposed to
have
be
to
doing this.
yeah. No hard decisions made here. So it's just given to me. I'm like, thank you. Anyway.
Right, exactly. It was me. I don't think I would have quit my job otherwise. Like I think I would have
Yeah.
been very logical. Like, yeah, do I have enough this and that? But it just it feels like no, this is
Yeah.
this is what you need. And then a month later, I got engaged to my now husband. And at that time, also our journey was like kind of like, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but you've heard of the thing twin flame. Like there's two
Yes,
people.
yes, yes, yes.
So I kind of
But
believe that ours was like that.
I don't know the concept, but how did you? What is the concept about twin flame?
I've just seen it on the internet, and then I've heard people talk about it. But from what I've heard, it's kind of like essentially two on a spiritual level. It's like I think like basically like you're like two souls in one soul in two bodies kind of thing.
Okay.
And when you meet, you don't like connect. Like you connect, you know right away this is you're attracted to the person. But usually one person is running from reality, and the other person is like, okay, I know this is the one. But the other person, so it's a very back and forth kind of game that kind of goes on. I don't know anyone else that's gone through it, but I feel like so like that's what happened with me and my husband is that like I met him immediately. I was like, this guy is something special. Like I knew it, and within a month, I even told him I was like, yeah, like I feel like this could be more than friend, and he was like, nope, we're never getting married. Like this is not it.
Uh,
But he was still drawn to me, but he wouldn't admit it. It was like that. So like almost a year and a half went by where I was like, I know you like me, but he was kind of like, no, I don't. I'm not ready to get married, but he was still very attached to me. Like it was like that. And then after like a year and a half, finally, like we like yeah, I met his family, and then after that, everything just went so perfectly. It was like, why did we wait so long, kind of thing. And then he was able to open up and then really like be himself more, and that's when we kind of came together. And then after that, I started my own business, and I think after that, it was like such a journey of growth because I think that starting any kind of business for yourself requires
yeah,
you to have a lot of belief in yourself, and I think that it's the best self growth journey that you
yeah,
can ever have
yeah.
because I had to clear so many beliefs after that. It was just like clearing and clearing. Like every month, I would have so
Yeah,
many like negativity, like am
yeah.
I worth it? Can I do it? Can I make money? Can I bring people? It was like just constantly after that.
Mm,
Um, and then I actually got certified in 2019 to be a theta healing practitioner as well.
mm,
So I started to actually do it on myself and clients as well. And then
mhm,
I kept going like that. And then in 2021, so I had to postpone my wedding because of COVID. So and the wedding was supposed to happen in India. So I just came to India because I was like, what if my like I mean I have OCF, but I was like, what if I can't go to India or something? I don't want to
mm,
be stuck at that time. So I just came to India early, and then I stayed for the wedding. And then I heard about dance therapy at the time,
mm,
and I was like, this is so fascinating. Like you can,
mm.
like you
I
can,
had never heard of it. Yeah, I heard it only from you.
yeah,
I'm like, I love dance as well, but I never knew dance therapy. I get the concept of you feel happy when you dance,
right.
you feel the best when you dance, but I did not know about dance therapy. Like, yeah, that's interesting.
So even I thought that I was like, oh, like maybe it's just a type of like you just move and you feel happy. Like that's what I thought it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
too.
yeah. Who
And then
introduced you to that?
So I saw it. So I have a dance coach who I work
Okay.
with, like, for my technique and stuff like that. So she's a dance therapist. So I saw it on her page one day and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, and I asked her about it and I was Googling it. And I was like looking for a certification because I was like, I don't think I'm ready for a master's yet because I have no clue what this is even about. But I was like, let me just see if there's any kind of certification.
Yeah.
And then in 2 months, I guess I attracted that too,
Mm.
because that came around.
Yeah.
Uh, so basically, it's a modality where you're able to, like in theta healing, for example, the practitioner is connected to the theta state, and then you're verbally having like a dialogue exchange of like beliefs, and like, and they're able to scan your energy. In movement therapy, it's like, our body stores so many emotions, and when we move a certain way, things come up. So it's
Mm.
a matter of using our body as a medium of expression to either express how we feel or to understand how we feel, or to even just start to go deep into like, okay, what are we feeling, how does this make us feel,
Mm. Mm.
and then after that start to process it in different ways, like through
Mm.
movement, or like through, you can even process it through, verbally, or in other ways. But the main thing is to be able to process it. So it's not really about like learning any kind of dance form or technique, but it's
Mm.
kind of about finding your inner dance, like, because everybody can dance, right? Like,
Yeah.
as humans, we all do dance, and
Yeah.
everyone does it at different levels and flexibility. Technique, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But all of us have an inner dance that we like to, move and express, like just movement of expression. So
Mm.
essentially, it helps you to find that inner movement of expression where you can just express from within, things that you may not be able to say through words, but you can say through movement.
Oh.
So
Did it
it's very fascinating.
did it help you in any of your relationships? How did it add value to your relationships?
Like with
Um,
dance therapy, or in general.
in general, with dance therapy and the theta healing that you did, how did your life change from what it was before you were introduced to it to what it is now? With your relationships, with yourself, how did
Yeah.
it help? Yeah.
I think it's a huge change because I think that, one, our relationship with ourself defines everything. So if I don't have like respect for myself,
That's
I don't then attract people who respect me either. So I think that was like the main thing, is just like changing my how I saw myself, and like, that, and setting my boundaries, because I used to be a person who, like, I couldn't
mm,
say no easily. I would just kind of do things for approval. I wouldn't always set boundaries. I was not comfortable, like I was always alone, but I'd feel like, oh, like, I'm so weird. I'm like, but like things like that.
mm,
And I was a very insecure person.
mm,
So I think just changing that changes your kind of life, because now I'm at a point where I'm like, if I don't feel someone's energy is good for me, like, I'll stay away, and I don't feel like I need to have their approval of me, or me or them, or I need to keep them in my life just because they're a person. Like, if they're toxic, I
yeah,
don't need to be around them.
yeah,
And I think those things are like life changing, because I think that so much of our life goes away in just dealing with people who are so negative,
yeah,
and we think it's our obligation to deal with them because they are
right,
XYZ, or like, I've known them since I was a kid, so I have to.
yeah.
But that's not true. Like, I mean,
You
there's
are
no
speaking to
obligation.
my heart right now. You're basically speaking my heart right now. Seriously, that's what you're doing because that's what the journey is all about, right? Like that's what even I am working on.
That's
And
amazing.
whatever you're speaking is like, dear God, is she reading my mind? And that's the reason why I started to talk to people. And you were the first one. I first asked my
Oh,
husband,
I'm
can I
sorry.
talk to you about it? And
Yeah.
he's like, you're not going to put anything online. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm going to talk to you any other time. So then I messaged you because I had my eye on you for a long time. I was like, I need to talk to her because I have a feeling she's on this journey, which is probably brilliant. And I really, really want to know how it went on and how it started and, how it's going. So, but yeah, that's awesome. Wait, I have more questions.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Did you have any not in a, you know what I mean by ego. Did you have ego in the past, or did you have to check your ego? Now that you are where you are right now, do you have your ego in check?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? There
I
is a
think,
thin line between, like, they say, ego and confidence, I would
yeah,
say.
definitely.
Yeah. So how do you manage that? It just comes to you because you're
So I think before I 100, because I think ego is fear. Like when we have a lot of fear of an insecurity, I think that's when ego comes, because we're scared to
That makes
basically
sense.
be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I think that I had a huge ego before, because I would do, like I think when you don't have when your ego is in check, I think that you're able to understand, am I doing this because this is going to benefit me? Like, like for my highest good, or am I doing it just because I want to get back at that person and like screw them, and like, I want to feel better about myself, so I'm going to do this thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I think now I'm able to really differentiate, like, if something upsets me, or if anything happens, I'm like, okay, am I doing this because I want to feel better about myself being more powerful, or whatever, or is this because I really think that this is
Yeah.
a good thing to do?
Yeah.
Because I think there are things that, like, if you have to make a bold move, or have a conversation with somebody, or do something. I mean, those things happen in life, but I think it's more of, where is it coming from? Is it coming from a place of, like, I think this person needs to be told this, or maybe I need to say this, from my part, or is it like I would put them in check because, like, they need to know because I'm more powerful people, like that kind of thing. So I think now I'm really aware of, like, okay, where is this coming from?
Hmm. Hmm. It's
Because
interesting.
I had a conversation with somebody a few weeks ago, and they were like, "Oh, but like you meditate, so like how do you get upset?" And I was like, "It's not that, like, everyone has emotions. Just because you meditate doesn't mean that you don't get upset,
Yeah.
but you get upset, and I'm able to self regulate. Like that's the hope. That's the benefit. Like if you meditate and you're spiritually aware with your emotions, you're able to self regulate. You won't get upset and then go throwing tantrums everywhere, like making everyone else upset, kicking the dog, kicking this, screaming at everyone else, because
Yeah.
if you're able to meditate, you still get upset, but you may be able to self-regulate much easier, and you may be able to not be upset within 30 minutes versus like the entire day. I think
True.
that's really the awareness that all of us get.
Yeah, and I think it's the expression of your emotion which is very, very important.
Yeah,
Sometimes people tend to keep emotions on the inside, which is the worst thing to do.
that
Have
was
you?
me. That
Same
was
here.
Oh wow, high five.
Same here. I'm not even
That's
kidding.
great.
I until like even now I'm on a spiritual journey and I'm still on. I do a lot of healing. I do a lot of theta meditation and
Yeah,
delta meditation and things like that.
yeah,
So things come out. I see visions of certain things of um, uh, what might have happened when I was younger, when I was a baby, when
yeah,
um, I didn't have the. That was fascinating because I didn't know that you can actually remember those things. It
yeah,
came to me in meditation when which I had just put out as a question a long while ago, and then it just came to me in meditation, and I'm like, this is interesting. And
yeah.
yeah, not we are in an era when all this is going to be so common. Right now, people are like, oh, you meditate for so long. Oh, you don't have. Oh,
I
you.
fall asleep. I can't do it. Right. That's all you.
Oh, 5 minutes and that's it. I'm done. And I'm like, that means you have issues. You need to
That
solve
yeah.
those.
I was just reading a book. It's called "You Can Heal Your Life" by Louise
Yes,
Hay.
I'm doing the
And
same.
she was saying this exact same thing that you just said. Like, if you can't do something, you're resisting yourself. Like, that's inner resistance. Like, you
Yeah,
don't want to face some truth, so you're just avoiding, you're dodging. Like,
yeah, yeah. Oh, God. Uh, what would you call the turning point in your life? May it be in the past or present. What would be the turning point that you had in your life?
I think it was when I lost my job.
Okay.
Because I think it's something I had always dreamed of, was to like be an entrepreneur and work for myself, call my own shots, and like just enjoy
Hmm.
enjoy my life. And I think that losing my job pushed me to do that,
Hmm.
because I was always so scared before. Like I had tried to do this in 2017,
Hmm.
and 18, like, towards the end of the year, and I was like, yeah, like, I'm gonna start this company, I'm gonna do this. But I was so terrified. Like I didn't even know how to market myself. What will people think of me? Will I even have clients? Like, oh my god, am I gonna make money? Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
all these thoughts were there, so I couldn't even think of like doing anything of that such.
Hmm.
But I think that losing the job, I was like, I have to have a car payment to make. I have to do these things. Like, what am I going to do? Like, just not just sit here on my butt and do nothing. No, I have to go sell. I have to break these beliefs. I have to go. So I
Yeah.
think that it just forced me to like shed a lot of things that were not me, and to become more of what is
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. I've just to add to that point, I've changed jobs so many times because of that.
Yeah.
It is quitting. It is quitting. Yours was much easier because you just got laid off and you were
Yeah.
done with it, right? But I had to change jobs. I always ran from one job to another thinking,
Mm.
this is something that is not for me, not for me, not for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me, but end of the day, it was something in my mind that I had to set right.
Yeah.
I I always was pointing outside my body. And until like a couple of years recently, I realized that it was on the inside that you
Yeah.
work on, and that's like it'll take a
I totally feel you.
yeah. This is-
Because even me, like I started working very early in life. I started working around age 16.
Mm.
And I'd like, yeah, yeah, like the next thing is gonna be better. Like, next thing is gonna be better. And then it didn't, nothing got better. It was always the same.
Right? Right? That's what even I thought. And initially, it's the first 2 months is blissful, and then 3 months, and then it goes on, and 1 year it gets stagnant, and 2 years is the max for me. 2 or 3, people are like, "Oh, is this the time that you'll quit your job now? Are you going to fight me with the job?" I'm like, "But is that
Maybe.
the pattern that I've been following?" And I went back and I thought about, yes, that was it. I fought
Mhm.
and I left, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you take your job in your face, and I used to walk out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pattern is gone. Thank God. Thank God it's gone. But yeah, it's just fascinating to know that everybody's on that thing. And
Right?
right, I'm happy that I can actually connect with you on that. I usually don't
Same.
find people. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, and I'm really glad that even if it was
No,
late,
same here.
we
I'm so
did.
glad because I find people who love their job. I'm like, but like, and people who either like may not like it, but this pattern of changing is like very rare, I think, to find in anyone
Yeah.
else. It's really fascinating.
Um, how has Meri Sanskriti, your company, added value to you as a person? What did you learn from it? I know you brought it out. It's a baby of your own
Yeah.
thoughts and what your dream is. It's your own baby, but how did it make you a person that you are today? How did this path, this whole path has been, and how have you changed with Meri Sanskriti?
So I think Meri Sanskriti, even before it had a name, I think it came in my mind to some extent back in about 12, 13 years ago. After finishing school, high school, I had gone to India for a month.
Yeah.
And again, for most of my life, I was always this person who was like, I'm South Indian. I'm Tanjore Maharashtrian. So we're Marathis from Tanjore. So we didn't like fit in anywhere. Like I couldn't be Marathi. I'm not North Indian. I'm not South Indian. I'm not anything. I'm just like this weird, random mixture of like of things.
Mm.
I never fit in. So I always felt like, oh, like I'm Indian, but like I don't fit in anywhere. I don't belong. Then I came to India and I was like, oh, like people are like me. Like this is not okay. Like maybe yeah, we do have some aspects of Tamil culture. Like I'm not so far off from like the world as I thought I was. So I had this thing of like, yeah, like I love India, and I think I explored some of India at that point. I was like, well, like, India is so cool. Like, why do people not like it? Like, why don't people go?
Mm.
Why don't we see India like we might go to see Italy, France, or Paris, or like any like why don't we see India as a place to travel? Like, what's the reason why? So I had this dream that like I want to like help people like yeah like India is not so bad, like there are good
Yeah.
things, that there are places that are nice there, like there's so many like there are cons but there are also a lot of pros.
Yeah.
So from that point on, people thought I lived in India and I came to America. Like that's how much I would talk about India. Like, like in
Mm.
India, it's like this, and like across the street, and the food is there, and like yeah, it's not just Punjabi food. There's all kinds of food. Oh, like did you grow up there? I'm like, no, I grew up here actually. I've only been there. I went for a month, and that's it. And then from that point on, I think I was always talking to people. Like I was always giving like my one. I had a job right after college, which was in the food industry, and my last day on the job, I cooked everyone an Indian meal. I cooked one chettinad dish, one nothing else. See, there's diversity in India. You guys need to know this. There's North and South and East
Yeah,
and
yeah,
West.
yeah.
Don't ignore it. Don't just think everything is chicken tikka masala. Like I was like adamant, like you guys have to know this. I have to leave you guys with education. So
Yeah.
I was very like passionate about educating people on this. So I think like when I finally came to the time, I was like, okay, I need to start a company, but like, what am I passionate about? I was like, yeah, like I'm passionate about Indian culture. Like that's what I
Yeah,
want to do.
yeah.
And like my husband does this for a living, so like if he can do it, why can't I do it?
Mm.
So I think as I started to grow it, I started to really discover myself. And even when I started Meri Sanskriti, it was just this blob. Like I had no like I wanted to educate kids, but I also wanted to educate adults. And I
Yes.
also wanted to help women feel better about themselves. And I was like, how am I gonna do all this under one umbrella? I have no clue.
Mm,
And I think the process from 2019 to now has actually helped me create three like kind of sister branches of Meri Sanskriti,
mm,
where like one we have just for kids and
mm,
we educate kids on culture.
mm,
And then one we have just for women who we do fitness and things like that
mm,
and
mm, mm,
healing and therapy and everything. And
mm,
then one we're still building like an educational kind of thing to make it like to teach it like in a cool way
mm, mm,
to promote India's diversity and heritage, but in a way where it's attractive to the young people, like
mm, mm,
garments and where we can kind of talk about it. So
mm,
it's helped me really build a clarity of thought. Like I'm like, okay, like this is what I want, but I can't do everything here. So here's how I can, clarify. Like I think at least once a month, I have like a date with myself. I'm like, okay, Amrita, what do I want? What am I doing? What am I trying to do? So
mm,
I've gained so much of clarity of thought. I've really learned how to be a manager. Like I never knew I could be like decent at managing anything.
mm, mm,
I was never a detail oriented person, but now I've become a detail oriented person. Like, I've become someone who pays attention to details. I've learned how to like talk to people, how to get out of situations and problems, and I've also learned, how to adapt to the market, what people like. So it's
mm,
just been a 2 years of so much of growth and learning and change in me as a person.
mm,
I mean, I haven't changed my core, I would say, but I think I've like learned a lot of things that I could do better. Like it's like that.
mm. Nice, nice. Yeah, I saw that in Meri Sanskriti, you have a bunch of things right under it.
Yeah,
You have a bunch of things under it. Yeah,
we
I
do. Yeah,
remember you first started it. It was just Meri Sanskriti. I think it was more
yeah,
of a blog or something. I remember
yeah,
reading it and looking at it. I don't quite remember the whole idea of it, but then I saw you add more things under it. That's when I realized that
yeah.
oh, she's actually adding many things under it. And um, what has I mean, this is a simple question. What has success meant to you in the past?
In the past, so until about 2019 or 2020, success meant that I had this goal and I was supposed to do everything I can to hit it. And as a result, I always felt unsuccessful.
Hmm.
I never felt like I was successful, and I always never thought I could be successful.
Yeah.
I think that definition has definitely changed now.
Hmm.
To me, really thinking that okay, success is there's different areas of success.
Hmm.
There's different levels of success.
Yes.
Like for example, I used to judge myself like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna get X amount of people in Meri Sanskriti and MS Academy?
Hmm.
But then I'm like, no, like, okay, if I can do X amount this month, that is success. So setting those small goals that are achievable, that
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I think the second thing is I've really gone away from goal setting to just
Hmm.
intention setting.
Yeah. True.
Intention setting and then following my intuition to lead me there
Hmm.
and trusting that things happen for my highest good.
Hmm.
That if something doesn't happen, it's like it's okay. Like it's not the end of the world because maybe it just wasn't meant for me.
Hmm.
Like we had a bunch of classes when we started MS, and now we have a few other classes that are probably doing even better than the ones that we started. So
Hmm.
if I look at it like, oh, I didn't grow this many in X class, but maybe that wasn't meant to be. So that should not be counted as a success or failure. That's just not what was meant to be. But what is a success is the fact that this other class has picked up more than that class, or it has impacted more kids than this class. And it's like
Hmm.
so I think like it changes. We really can't have this one set idea of like this is success. It's like what does it mean to you in this area, and what is your intention, and what do you want to do with it, and like
Yeah. I
how you
understand.
felt.
I totally resonate with the intention part of it because I started doing that. I used to have big goals like, oh, I have to
Yeah,
run this company, so much money. I should have this company and that. And
yeah,
it always used to be about self approval from others.
yeah,
You could look at it as, why would I want that? I'm happy on the inside. Would I want it if someone else wasn't approving it? It kind of
yeah,
made you. think about all such things. But it's interesting you're talking about intention. How do you set your intention every day? Do you do it on a daily basis, or you just like running it in your mind all the time? Is there a practice that you do, like how Louise Hay does? Set your intentions in the morning, look at your
Yeah.
cards and your this post-its. Do you write
I
affirmations?
don't
How do
do
you
that yet. I think that's still something that I'm working on is a morning routine because I'm not a morning person at all. I can like
I
I
think you're
have
my sister from some
to yeah,
other
I feel
mother.
you.
I you are. I have a feeling there is a lot more common than I even thought. I'm
We should
so
definitely have an offline conversation about this. I'm sure we'll get along really well. Because I can stay up and I can think brilliantly at night, just give me a cup of coffee. Like I can stay up at 3, 4 a.m. But in the morning, even if I sleep at 12 in the morning, I'm not awake to think or do anything. I can just maybe go to the gym and come back because I can physically move and like I can't do anything else.
this doesn't work that time. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I am not there yet. So usually, I mean, I've started making like a list the day before. I said, okay, what do I have to accomplish tomorrow? And that's what I've been doing.
Hmm.
And then secondly, if I realize I want something, I'm like, okay, universe, show me the way and make it happen. And then usually I get certain prompts, do this, do that, and then I'll do
Hmm.
it.
Do you just meditate upon it, or do you just like randomly in your heart you just, or is there a process, like say people say that you have to be in that alpha state to put out that question, put out that request out in the universe? I mean,
Not
is
really. I mean, for me, usually I just say it, and then sometimes if it's something where I feel like okay, I need to like maybe work on this belief or work on this thought. Like if I have like, let's say I'm like okay, I want to have like 500 kids at MS Academy, but maybe as soon as I think that thought, I have a like a knot in my stomach. Like okay, I need to work on this because I have this intention, I have this desire, but I don't feel good about it. So something must be there that I need to clear. And
Hmm.
then maybe I'll kind of go into to the data state and clear and kind of just work through okay, why do I feel bad about this? Like what's the reason?
Hmm.
And work through my emotions.
Ah, cool, cool. And I also saw this about you. You wore a crown, and
Yeah.
you won a pageant. Can you
Yeah.
talk
So
about
that's
that?
sure. So that's also a really interesting thing. So I recently realized that I had a lot of beliefs about myself
Okay.
that I could never be like first. I could never be like a first person. I was always sidekick, I was always second, I was always like less than first. So what happened was a few people that I knew were doing this pageant during the pandemic time.
Okay.
And I was first like, yeah, like I can't be like I don't want to like it would scare me to be in a pageant because I was like, okay, like what if like I like that was all my fear.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, like I won't do it. Okay, maybe I should do it. So there was one small pageant that came up, and I was like, okay, like let's just try and see, like whatever.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I don't know, like what'll happen. So I chose to be part of it, and then at the end, when it was the final round, I misread the like. So I forgot like what is a pageant. I don't really watch pageants. I'm like okay, like I know there's Miss World, but I'm not really into
Yeah.
it. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
like whatever. So I misread the dress code. It it said formal, but I in my head formal. I was like, oh, like it's like business formal, but it was actually like gown formal. So I wore the wrong outfit. So and they were like, yeah, like if you
What
had
did
just
you
worn
wear?
the right outfit, you could have won first, but I won second because of that.
What did you wear? What did you wear?
I wore like a blazer, like a business outfit, like a business formal, instead of like evening gown formal.
Really?
But when I looked at it later, I was like, it says formal evening wear. Why did I like like why did I think
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it was just in my belief system that like, oh, like I'm not gonna win. Like, like there's
Hmm.
no way I'm winning. And even when I won, even when they were announcing the winner, I was like, oh, like it won't be me. Like it's not gonna be me. Like I just had this thing in me that like I'm not gonna win. So I won second. And after everybody was like, you would have won, but like why did you wear that? And I was like, I don't know.
You still won. You
I did
still
win. I did win. Yeah, yeah.
that
So
says
so
a lot.
I won first runner up in this Indian Diva beauty pageant. And that's actually a really good pageant. It's like very fair and I really liked it. Um so I won that. So it was nice.
You still won even after wearing the wrong gown. That says a
Yeah.
lot. about you. That should like bump up your.
That's a good way to look at it. I should actually like reframe, because I look at it as like, wow, what a dumb blunder I made. Like I should have like checked the.
Yeah, but
But
no,
yeah,
no, that's a really people get dressed up and decked up and they never end up even in the top four.
yeah,
I've seen those. I've seen those events. I've seen those pageants. Yeah, that says
yeah,
a lot, Amrita. That says a
yeah.
lot about your energy. It's not just the clothes, it's about your energy. That's what matters.
Thank you.
See, somebody
But then
saw
I
that.
did a pageant. Yeah, I did a pageant after that, and then after that, I decided I'm done with pageants for life.
uh, so, um, you talk about self-love, right? Do you have any daily routine for your self-love? Do you do mirror work? Do you do
I did not, and then recently, over the past few weeks, interestingly, I have. So usually I like to shower at night, and then I find it very therapeutic. So sometimes I just
again, same pinch?
high five.
Seriously,
You just like sleep well. It's not your
yes,
time to think and just like
relax.
relax.
Yeah.
So I sometimes just like kind of I think this is more after I also went through movement therapy. So like like
Therapy?
in the shower or
Pardon me? What was that therapy?
after dance movement therapy.
Oh, dance movement
So
therapy.
like kind of like doing things more with movement. So usually after I take a shower, or I'm kind of like calm and relaxed after, like after being like in water. I'll
Mm.
just kind of like go through a process of like imagining like I'm just pouring love over myself and my body and like all like all parts of me, and just kind of like giving myself love,
Mm. Nice.
which has been
Nice.
working really well.
Hmm. Um, so do you have any regrets in anything, as a matter of fact? Uh,
I try not to have regrets, in the sense like I try not to regret things in general.
mm,
But I think the only thing I would say is like I wish I'd gone through all this earlier.
yes. Yes. I think about that too all the time.
Yeah.
It's been a hard journey. Has it been a hard journey for you with all this transition in the beginning? Was it really hard for you to get out of your shell, of that comfort, to
I
come
guess.
out?
I mean, I think it was just like everything that everyone else that I wanted, and that's what I had also portrayed for a while.
Hmm.
When I realized that's not what I wanted, I think it was just hard for people around me to be like, oh, like you've just changed from like A to Z kind of thing. Like this is very different. So I
Mm.
think just like becoming the new and different me, and like I guess that change was like hard.
Mm. And how about relationships? Are you still? I do know you're a very bubbly character, and I've seen you. The little time I have seen you, you're a very loving, bubbly character. And an individual like you is should and always will be surrounded with people, right? How do you know that? It does that still happen to you, or how do you know who to trust and who not to allow in your circle?
I think I've really become more aware of that in the past, I guess, 2 years. Um, in terms of like people who I guess I don't feel good around. Like if I don't feel good around someone, or if I don't feel like they really vibe with me, if I feel like that they're just having conversations that are always negative or just about nothing, like just about other people, or just always
Mm,
like about this kind of gossip or like
mm,
mindless things.
mm,
I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to stay away and
And
not
you just ghost them,
engage.
or you just like walk away, or you just.
I mean, if a lot of them are family, I think I've just learned that I'm trying to just learn about boundaries and like how to like keep those boundaries, and if they're friends, keeping those boundaries. Because a lot of it has also been like, okay, but like, how do you just draw a boundary with somebody who you've known for a long time, or like or with family, whatever. But I think you have to kind of go back and understand your intention and your intuition, and just kind of ask yourself like, okay, like, but do I feel good around them? Are they good for me? Like, do I want to keep being around them? Like, do I want them to influence my thoughts and my decisions? And if the answer is no, like, okay, maybe it's time to put them in my third circle, where I
Mhm.
can just say hi, hello, be like courteous whenever I see them, but I'm not gonna put in more than they're putting in. And I think that's one thing that I'm also I've become huge on is that like I'm not putting in more effort into a relationship if the other person on the other end is not, and I don't see a reason for it to be unbalanced because the biggest I feel like lesson that I've kind of seen within the past 1 year, right? So my father-in-law and mother-in-law, like they're Gujarati and they're born and brought up in Gujarat, and I'm from USA. But I came into the family, but they never had this like, oh, she's Bahu now, so she has to like bend to our expectation. They were like, how can we make this a place for you to feel welcome? Like, how can we welcome you?
That's
Right? And I was
really
like, if they're in their 50s and they can say that,
that's
like
awesome.
there's no reason, like why anyone else can't. And I feel like, if any relationship is not as balanced as they are, then like I don't need them in my life kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very, very well put.
Because so many elders like like, oh no, like if like I
You
mean
have to,
this
yeah,
elder thing in like Indian culture of like, oh you're younger, so you have to kind of like mold yourself to me. But I feel
yeah,
like
yeah,
my
yeah.
in-laws can be like, hey, we're gonna like meet you at your level and see how we can blend and form like a harmonious relationship. I'm like, I feel like that's the prime example of it. Like in any relationship, if it's not two people meeting each other to like build a friendship or any kind of a relationship, then like is it really a friendship or is it just one taking and one giving?
Yeah, that's true. Have you lost a lot of relationships during this time, or have you
Yeah,
shed a lot of unnecessary
shared,
relationships?
shared. I would say
Was that hard for you? Because I know some of them,
it
you were
was.
talking about older people who, I mean, not older people, as in people whom you've known for a long, long time. And did that, was it hard for you? How did you cope with that?
It was like even like just people who like I've known since I was a kid and everything. But I think at some point, I mean, even if you stop talking to that person or those people, I mean, sometimes like the conversation just kind of stops, and then you maybe also see that okay, maybe I'm the only one who's trying to put effort in, and then it's okay. Like, why should I? So
Hmm.
sometimes it kind of hurts. Maybe you might feel bad, but it's only for yourself because you're like, oh, like I should have loved myself more, or I should have seen this long time ago, and I
Hmm.
should have stopped at that point in time. But then you have to just love yourself a little more and say it's okay. You know now. Give yourself a hug and just kind of saying, just trust that the right friendships will come along with people who are meant to be there for me and me for them, who are gonna have a balanced and harmonious relationship. And that's all that I need in my life. These
Hmm.
people who I thought maybe were my friends and were really like, these people that I wanted to be around, maybe that's not it. They're not meant to be that to that extent.
Hmm.
Like what I thought is not like it's like the saying goes, right? Like the universe or like God knows what's best for you kind of thing, and you
Yes.
may think but actually that's actually better. You have to trust that that path is like better for you. So I guess it's like in that
Yeah.
sense.
So, who has been the biggest supporter for you during this stage or this phase of you moving on or transitioning from what you were to what you are now? And you're going to obviously become a better, 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 much better person. I can see that, and you definitely will do it because that's the path that you're following. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're doing all these things, that you're shedding all the negativity, that's the
absolutely.
people don't do it until even it basically, I mean, knock on wood, I mean, so sorry for whoever it is, but they like pass away even
Yeah,
without, they get old in that age and they keep creeping and they just pass away. But
that's
the
true.
fact that you're on this path and we are all on this path, or few of us who are on this path, it's brilliant, right? Like
Definitely.
who has been the biggest support for you during this time? Who has stuck through those, those refinement years of yours where you're filtering everyone, and who's still stuck on?
I would say my husband.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think when we met, I was at a point where I was just beginning this journey.
Hmm.
And we met as like just like friends, and I think I have changed a lot in the past like 4 years, like into other like a better version of me. And I think like he's really just been a person that's like been there like for me, like and seen me change, seen me grow, given me like motivation.
Hmm.
um like even at the time when we were not like even though I was like, yeah, like I know like you're important in my life and you're the one, and he's like, no, I don't want to get married, but he was still like, like you, even though he was at a point where he was like, I don't want to get married, but he was still like he was still like, you're the most important person in my life. It was that like kind of weird
Yeah,
dynamic.
He's not even.
So
He didn't even let that go, right? He did
yeah,
not let
he
that.
he wasn't letting me go for sure. He was like, I'm not letting you go by any means. Like you're like here, like I'm always here for you, kind of thing.
That's nice. That's
So I
nice.
think
He,
he's definitely been my like rock and like support system where like I always feel like I can just be raw with him about anything and everything and like any fears, any like any emotions or whatever. And I feel like that's a not maybe so much of a common thing. Because especially after you get married, I've always heard this from most people, like, oh yeah, like aren't you glad to be happy to go back to your mom? Those kind of statements. Like, no, I'm fine with my husband. Like, we're good. Sometimes I joke like those dog memes where it's like a dog and a human, like
yeah,
HOOMAN.
woman. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, like he's my human.
yeah.
He's not a husband. We're each other's humans. That's all. Like a bond between a dog and a human. Like that's like the
Okay,
love that
that's
we have.
yeah. That reference I haven't seen that in the past. That's actually a brilliant reference. Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's a whole other level. And only dog lovers and people who have dogs in their
Right?
families will understand this. And yeah, and I really want to add that the way you treat your dogs um, it warms my heart. I love that, and I've seen a lot of um, people who don't consider dogs as family.
Yeah.
And I don't want to correct anyone. I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what, it's your baggage, you can carry it, but
Right.
I'll do what I can to help. Like
Yeah.
take a dog, or I don't mind taking four more dogs into my house. I don't even worry about it.
Same. I'm the same way. I'm like, I wish I could adopt all the dogs who don't have
Yeah,
homes and just love them all.
yeah. I still remember one of my neighbors actually was giving up their dog because they had a kid, and the kid was allergic to the dog. I'm like, and you know what? The funny part is, this was in Maryland, and after they gave up the dog, I saw the kid petting some other dog, somebody else's dog, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like when they were giving him up, Triton. I remember the name Triton. I kept asking them over and over again, "Can I adopt him? Can I adopt him?" I lived two streets next to their house, and I'm like, I'll adopt him. I'll take him. My husband's like, think about it, dude. Think about it. No, no, no. Bear won't like it. Bear is our dog. I was like, no. I mean, why are they giving him up? Why are they giving? Let him be here. I mean, I'll take him. I'll take him. But they did not give him. I mean, give him to me. They gave him up to one of their friend in Virginia, and that made me realize that I didn't think once what the consequence would be. Would we get along? Would my dog? I'm like, I don't care. People fight and
Yeah.
they get along. I bet dogs are better hearted individuals or
Yeah. Better
beings.
than humans.
Yeah, definitely better than humans. And I'm like, I bet even after 1 month of fighting, he will be fine. And I didn't even think of it.
That'll be
I'm like,
fine.
yeah, oh, good God. But
I'm so glad to meet you who has the same emotions about dogs. This is how I feel. Like I just like love dogs. So like when I was 10, I was in India and I was in this like park and I was eating a donut and this dog came up to me and he was so hungry. And after that, like I just couldn't finish my donut and I just
yeah,
gave him the donut.
I read
And
that
after
about
that,
you in the
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And I think since then I've just had this thing for street dogs. Even when I first saw my husband, he was walking and like six street dogs came up to him. We're like, just like getting his attention. And then he was like petting them and I was like, what a kind man. I like him.
Yeah. Was that the point? You just realized not a kind man. I love him. He's,
I like this woman.
he's a keeper. He's a keeper. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I did see something called a Panth vision.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
So that was so eight like Amrutha Panth, so like 8 Panth.
Yeah.
So I think that came from the fact that because in Indian culture and even I think in regular culture it's like, oh, like the son carries on the name, and I was like, gosh, I'm gonna be a daughter and make the name proud. Like you don't need a
Mm,
son
mm,
to do it.
mm, mm,
Anybody can
mm.
do it, kind of thing. There are sons who do nothing with their name, like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
person.
yeah.
So I was very like in that phase, and like I think I still believe that. Um, so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna make my like brand of company. It's like 8 Panth vision, like like that's me, like like 8 Panth vision, and that's why it's like 8 Panth shade. And actually, when I got my tattoo, my dad was like, "That's a real like it's not gonna go away." I was like, "Yeah, but our last name's on it. That's okay then." He was like, "Okay, works." See, Panth, our last name is like, okay, cool.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Cool.
even with the whole, like, even after I got married, I was like, I don't want to change my last name, but I was like, I also don't want to just keep my maiden name. So I added my married
Fun.
last name onto it. Yeah, Panth Pandya, because I was like, I feel like that's kind of what marriage is. Like, you are you, and then it's an add on to who you are, but it doesn't change or take away who you are. But also, you shouldn't deny that that's also there, kind of thing. It's like,
Hmm. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Are you doing any more movies?
I want to, but I feel like I just came here, so I'm kind of just starting to network with people here and understanding, like, the industry here. So hopefully soon.
Yeah. Are you planning to come back or are you gonna stay
Yeah.
there for a
So
while?
I'll be coming in September, and then
Mm-hmm.
probably staying for like a month or so. I'm not sure. I'm actually doing a couple of Garba workshops,
Oh,
like dance
nice.
workshops. Yeah.
Mm.
So
You'll
I'll be
be
doing
seeing
some
your parents
workshops.
after a long time.
Yeah. Well, they're coming next week because we're doing like a mini wedding here. Since we got
Ah,
married in the COVID time, we didn't get a chance to really celebrate it big and have like Garba and dance. So we're doing like a like a first anniversary event basically.
uh-huh.
And then so I'll be seeing them next week, and then after that, I'll be going in September, and then kind of going and coming because now we've kind of established the base here also. So it's kind of like it doesn't make sense to move to one country or the you
Mm-hmm.
know living lives in two countries basically, and that's kind of how I've always wanted it. Like I think I attracted this because I have always wanted to live in India for 1 year to see how life is here, and I got that. And I think secondly, I've
Oh,
always
you
wanted
are
to.
vibing on the theta all the
Yeah.
time. I have a feeling that's what it is. That's what it is. I've had those feelings where I keep telling this to people, knock on wood. I'm like, all my prayers, whatever I ask for, I always get. I always
Yeah.
felt that way.
Yeah.
And it's not like I did this big, huge coconut breaking, sacrificing thing. Never. It always, when comes from a pure heart,
Yeah.
it gets satisfied and looks like you're always vibing in that theta stage. And that's what
100%.
I'm getting.
I high five to that.
I am so glad. I am
Yeah,
so glad. That's a lot of inspiration.
definitely.
It's a lot of
No,
inspiration.
also you meeting you and vibing. I'm like, yeah, this is I'm feeling this vibe totally. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did learn a lot today. So I might take a look at that theta healing that you're talking
yeah,
about. Yeah, I've never
definitely.
heard of that because I do a bunch of things. Do not even ask
Yeah,
about energy medicine. I'm into I do I get the Reiki done. I've done hypnotherapy. I've done Donna Eden's energy medicine. There are a bunch of things that I do. Those are just the top three that I'm telling you about. I have
nice.
many more that I keep doing, and I write those down. And it's a meditations, different kind of frequency meditations for different situations to give up
Yeah,
something, to shed something, to
yeah.
for love, for shedding, and yeah,
Nice. Well, if
that's
at any point you want to do a session, just let me know.
oh, definitely,
I'm
I'll
happy to
definitely
do
do
one.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Because just to get the feel of it, to what it is and how
yeah,
it goes, I might, yeah. Yeah. How
definitely.
long does each session last?
It's usually about
Hour. Okay.
an hour, maybe an hour 15, just give and take.
Okay. Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you for having
you
me.
answered. Yeah, you answered most of the questions before I even asked, and yeah, it's been a pleasure. And you have a wonderful smile.
Thank
You
you.
actually did a. I'll continue following you, and please keep posting whatever you're
Thank
posting.
you. Means a lot.
Post your heart out. I'm there to watch it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be watching. Silent observers again.
Thank you.
Uh,
I appreciate it.
yeah, and thank you for all the love that you have for your family, your friends, your dogs. I'm very glad to see that. I love to see those posts. So you keep posting
Thank you.
about Lali and um, uh, S-
Singham.
Singam. Yeah, Singam. He's coming as Sheru. I'm like, why is
I
Sheru
know
coming?
Singham,
I'm like,
Simba, they're all kind of similar names.
yeah. I'm like, okay, Singam and Lali, please do share, and I'd love to see more posts about them. And yeah, and
Thank
your
you. I appreciate
family.
it so much.
Yeah.
And all the best with this initiative. I'm so happy you're doing this. I feel like this it's the need of the hour to spread positivity and love and stories and everything. And I'm so happy you're doing this. So
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
always happy to share your posts at the same time. So
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of
I am setting
course.
up my site and actually putting all of this up. So I will share
Yay!
it with you once. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Thank you. And YouTube
Thank
as well.
you.
So I'll keep you posted on all those things and you can share that.
Sounds
And
good.
thank you so much for sharing your
Of course.
story and showing the
Of course.
vulnerability is a big thing. And that's awesome what you did. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I'll speak to you soon. And
Yeah,
please tell
that's
hello to your entire family, your husband, and your dogs.
definitely will do.
All righty.
Okay.
Bye. Bye bye.